Is my microphone working? There we go. There we go. How's everybody doing this morning, y'all? How are my peoples doing? How's my audio? How's my video? So, y'all, this morning, I thought what we would do is we would start off trying to understand what the heck is going on. Because I noticed that last week, I think we were, if not all, confused. Many of us were confused about a number of things. And when I say last week, yeah, well, I guess that's this week. And what I notice is that the prosecution in this case seems to have decided to put this case on in a confusing manner, right? They've done it somewhat chronologically. They started off with Donovan Thomas, and they kind of weaved their way through the evidence to terminate with Shymel Drinks. If you remember, Shymel Drinks was killed in March 2022, and the arrest of the YSL members was conducted in May of that year. So you have this sense that the police officers, the investigators, that they said, let's move, a couple of months after Shymel Drinks. There were a number of shootings that we've heard wiretap conversations about, etc. So the prosecution seems to have decided that they want to present this case in a chronological fashion, but I'm not sure that they thought it through. Are they just disorganized? But I'm not sure that I don't really know what the problem is. Thought it through? Are they just disorganized? But I'm not sure that I don't really know what. Sorry, y'all. I'm bringing up my. The problem is thought it through. I can't bring that up. I'm bringing up my the chat so I can chat with y'all. I really don't know why they've done it in the way they have, but they've been disorganized, and I think it's left a lot of us somewhat confused as to what the heck they're trying to do, right or wrong. Morning, Andre. Morning, Tay. Morning, LTO. So it's not too early to hit the like button. I agree with that. I do agree with that. So what I did was, I don't know if y'all watched this video yesterday, but I tried to make a chronological order situation for the Shymel Drinks. Okay. So I just want to review this with y'all. I know a lot of us, we've seen this footage of Shymel Drinks a million times, but I want to try to I'm not trying to do the prosecution's job for them, but kind of, because in a sense, this is what they should have done if they could have done it this way. All right. So I want to just walk everybody through what happened using the testimony, using a bit of narration on my end. I want to just try to walk everybody through what happened. Okay. So let's get started here. Let me share my screen. Anything that you have that you want to add, just let me know. Okay. So the very first thing here, the very, very, very first thing is that we have the killing. Now, this isn't the first thing of everything. Okay. This is the first thing that I want to start off with, because really you can't start off with the very, very first thing, or we'd be going back to 2015. And we definitely don't want to go back to 2015. All right. So let's just start off here. The very first thing that we want to start off with is the killing of McMiller and
in the early
Ford.
morning hours of March 11th, 2022,
Okay.
police received a call related to a shooting
Yes,
near I-70.
LTO, aren't you the one who hit me on Twitter? You're like, hey, I don't have patience to listen to the AI narration. Well, I like this guy's voice. I like this AI voice.
5 highway in Atlanta.
Okay.
Upon arriving on the scene, investigators found 2 men shot.
Y'all,
one already deceased,
look how they did
and the
this.
other in urgent need of
look how they did this car, y'all.
medical care. The surviving victim would pass away soon after arriving to the hospital. The victims in this brutal attack were 31-year-old Christian McMiller and 28-year-old Darius Ford.
All right, so what we're looking at is, I think, March 11th, 2022, and we're looking at Christian McMiller and Darius Ford. We're looking at the car that they were traveling in. And the car that they were traveling in, as you can see, has been hit by a whole lot of bullets. Okay? So we will see later that the Christian McMiller and Darius Ford, they were apparently involved in some kind of confrontation that night. All right. But look, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This was just crazy wild, y'all.
Investigators believe this tragic incident was just one in a long string of tit-for-tat shootings between rival gangs YSL and YFN.
I want to direct your attention.
Okay, so this is going to be one of the investigators or crime scene investigators who arrived on the scene. Okay, so after this shooting, she's going to kind of tell us what she found when she came onto the scene.
To 2 separate locations that you responded to in March of 2022. First, I want to direct your attention to March 11th, 2022. Did you have the occasion to respond to I-7585 northbound and Fair Drive?
Yes.
And why did you respond to that location?
I was called to that scene for a homicide.
And why were you requested to go to that location?
There was a vehicle on the expressway with a passenger who was deceased and another male had been transported.
All right, so when she got on the scene, she found that one of the people was already dead and the other one was in need of medical attention.
What did you find when you got there?
I found a grayish looking vehicle with defects all around the driver's side, the rear, and the passenger side, with a deceased male sitting in the passenger seat, front passenger seat.
Did you see any of the shell casings?
Yes, they were on the expressway.
With the car, was there anything sitting on top of or around the car?
There was a handgun sitting on the roof of the vehicle.
On what side?
Right. So all of the pictures that we just saw is what she found when she came onto the scene. She found this car really just riddled. Now, y'all remember when Hilton said riddled with bullets? Y'all remember when Hilton said riddled with bullets? And then Whitaker got her to drill down to the fact that it was one bullet. Well, this is what riddled with bullets really looks like. This is crazy.
McMiller and Ford were both associated with the YSL group.
All right, I believe
whose most
this is
prominent
McMiller
member is rapper Young Thug. In the hours following McMiller and Ford's death, investigators noticed social media postings and wiretap telephone calls mourning the pair's death and purportedly promising revenge.
In the caption, and it says 4L.
Okay, so here we have McMiller, and we have who? Do y'all know who this is? Like, let's play quiz a little bit. Who is this standing with McMiller?
McMiller is wearing.
It appears so.
Okay. Looking at 448 VV, are you familiar with the Instagram handle Bentley BZ4L?
I am.
How are you familiar with that Instagram handle?
That's the Instagram account associated with Christian Eppinger.
All right. And Again, is this another post of Christian Evinger or a post of Christian Evinger posting both? Is that Mr. McMillan, Mr. Ford in that picture?
Correct.
All right. Are you
All right, so we have Mr.
familiar with the
McMillan, Mr.
Instagram
Ford.
account og.bool_?
All right, y'all. So the first thing that we need to know is Mr. McMillan and Mr. Ford, who were both standing in this picture right here. They're both pictured. They were both killed.
Are you
In
familiar
this
with the
shooting that we
Instagram
just looked at.
handle
With this white
Bentley
car or a gray
BZ4L?
car.
I am.
How are you familiar with that Instagram handle?
That's the Instagram account associated with Christian Evinger.
All right. And again, is this another post of Christian Evinger or
A bandage chart and the devil emoji.
So then we start seeing
Investigators had previously tapped.
after these guys are killed, we start seeing these posts pop up on different. Oh, thank you, Big. Oh man, I appreciate that. Yeah, some people don't like the AI voice. I like it. I think it's pretty good, you know, and it's only going to get better. Appreciate that. Appreciate the 10 spot. So after McMillan and Ford are killed, you have people who are sending out these social media posts. One person saying, like, this as a dad, this hits you. This hits you. This red X, this hits you. This one hits you. I mean, thinking about this man's son, you know, you imagine this is his son right here. Somebody does this, ha, ha, ha. Now you fatherless. Now you fatherless. I mean, what kind of cold-hearted people do we have in this world that would do this? Then you have smoking on your pack. That's kind of more run-of-the-mill trolling, but the now you fatherless troll. That's not cool. All right, Grand Rising. Okay, so we have McMillan and we have Ford who are dead now.
YSL members' telephones and captured some of their reactions following learning of McMillan and Ford's demise.
We have a dapper. I never get tired of seeing the dapper.
And this one disrespecting Ford.
Yeah, Gotti, y'all. I mean, this
Investigators had previously tapped YSL members.
This guy literally looks like an entirely different person with the hair cut off and with the dressed up. I mean, he looks like literally a different human. He doesn't even look like the same human.
Yeah, man.
That was crazy, boy.
Man, I'm just going through what I'm calling when I had them posts. He told man, tell Corey, I said, welcome home.
All right, y'all, there's something that's very sensitive. There's something sensitive that I feel like only a few people have been willing to put together. There's something sensitive that I feel like only a few people have been willing to go there, so to speak. And I'm only going to make a an allusion to it. But y'all, they got these people's phones tapped, y'all. They have their phones tapped. They're listening in on their calls. They have Demekion Garlington and Shannon Stillwell on multiple calls. They have them tapped before the Shymel Drinks murder happens. Think about that. This call we're about to listen to, I'm imagining must have happened before the Shymel Drinks murder. Let me see if Hilton says when it is.
YSL members' telephones and captured some of their reactions following learning of McMillan and Ford's demise.
Yeah, man.
That was crazy, boy.
Man, I'm just going through what I'm calling when I had them posts. He told man, tell Corey, I said, welcome home. I told you that.
Yeah, that's why I got that. I'm like, man, that's just too crazy.
But that's a fool. Well, I'm like, damn, boy.
They hit him more on this.
I don't know. I think he the one that got shot in the head. I don't. Like everybody been said he hadn't died first. Like they were saying at first. They was just like, bro was in critical condition for him. And
I heard he got hit in the head.
Yeah, but Roger hadn't goddamn told me what happened to him.
Y'all, you have to ask yourself some questions. How were they able to tap these phones? How were they able to tap these phones, y'all? I think there is one central figure in all of this who I'm not going to say caused the phones to be tapped, but we certainly saw somebody offering that he would wear a wire. If y'all remember, do y'all remember somebody saying, I'll wear a wire? Do y'all remember somebody saying, I will wear a wire, offering to wear a wire?
And then they're like,
You know?
man, brother died too. So we just turn on the video chat shit. But he was like, came from, Roger said it came from Summer Hill, but Quake.
All right, I'm gonna skip
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it went look core, man.
Oh yeah, so I thought he went to traffic or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought, cause everybody going to traffic. You like I be telling the nigga they go to traffic. But I ain't even saying that to him last night, saying putting the clothes on.
Demikion Garlington and Shannon Still.
All right, so we got Garlington, we got Stillwell. We know Stillwell, we've been watching him every day in court. We have Garlington, who is separated. He is in custody, he is on trial, or he will be on trial, but he's not in this trial.
Stillwell are two figures who investigators believe played a central role in the next phase of this morbid set of events.
Okay, so now we have some
Investigators
social media
say that
posting. So y'all, at this point, what do we have? We have McMiller and Ford who have been shot in a brutal shooting on the highway. They're deceased. We have they're with the YSL side of the equation. We have YSL reacting. We have different groups in Atlanta that are starting to say, you know, we did it, or they're making fun of the deceased, they're disrespecting them, etc. And we have YSL people who are reacting, and now we also have YSL
in the hours and days following McMiller and Ford's death, YSL
starting to put their
associates took
own
to
social media
to post
postings
their
up. So they
grief
just lost
and
somebody.
also to express their desire for revenge. In one post from an
Okay, so this was March 11th. 3 days later, we have the 911 call. Now, I'm not going to play the whole call.
I'm on the, okay. Oh my God.
I'm not going to play the whole call, but 3 days later, we have Mr. Cheeseborough, who's driving in the vicinity of King Liquors, in the vicinity of the BP station on, I believe, Windsor Road. And he notices a car that is disabled and appears to be somebody who might be in need of assistance. Now, one thing I do want to point out so that everybody can see this, there's this image. I think this might have been taken from law enforcement or an investigator or something like that. So you have this image, but you also have an image of Mr. Cheeseborough. Look at this image, y'all. This is from a traffic camera or some kind of camera that is out there. Now, I don't know if this camera is recording video. I think this camera is recording still images. Okay. I think this, can y'all see this? Morning, Nicole. Y'all give me some feedback. I need to know that y'all are even with me. I'm glad y'all are in the chat and whatnot, but can y'all just give me some feedback to let me know y'all are with me here? So, Mr. Cheeseborough, this is a traffic camera image that is capturing Mr. Cheeseborough. It looks like he's exiting his car. So Cheeseborough would have been coming up the street, probably gone around Mr. Drinks because he was blocking traffic. He was stopping traffic. Okay. So Mr. Cheeseborough would have come up, gone around Mr. Drinks, and had a second thought and said, man, that guy might need some help, and then did a U-turn. So some people thought when Mr. Cheeseborough said he did a U-turn, they thought he was the person that we're going to see a little later doing the U-turn, but this is not the same U-turn. There's two U-turns here. So Mr. Cheeseborough would have come up behind Mr. Drinks, gone around him, like, oh man, this guy, something's wrong. Let me just, he's not moving. Let me go around. Had a second thought and said, maybe that guy needs some help. Come back around, stopped right here where we can see him, gotten out of his car and said, oh yeah, man, this guy needs some help. Let me call 911. So they would have called 911. Mr. Cheeseborough called 911. That is the 911 call that we've all heard. Okay. So this is the series of events. Now, as you can see here, the door is not open. No, Hair Alchemist, this is not a new video. This is, I believe this to be a still image, a still photo that was taken when Mr. Cheeseborough arrived at the scene, at the Drinks scene, which would have been probably 15, 20 minutes after Drinks was killed. This was definitely shown in court. So this would have been taken 15, 20 minutes after Drinks was killed, I believe, something like that. Now, the significance of this, though, is there is a camera here, y'all. There's a camera. So you have two things. One thing is the camera, we don't see any footage of what happened. I think this is taking still images. I don't know that this is recording video. This may be taking a picture every, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, minute, 5 seconds, every second. I don't know. But morning, Miss Lily. Good to see you here. It's not a photo. It was meant to be recording, but it apparently none. Well, Alan, think about this. Let's say this is a recording. Let's say it's a recording. Either way, even if it's froze at this time, whether it's a photo or a recording, this represents what happened after Drinks got killed. So if it froze after Drinks got killed, we see that it preserved this much because we can see it. So it didn't just erase everything. It wasn't like it froze and just had a catastrophic malfunction where all of the data was gone. It preserved this data. So you do have to ask, well, okay, it froze at that time. That's inconvenient, but shouldn't it have captured everything, whether it's images or video, shouldn't it have captured everything that happened up to that moment? Like, where's all that? Because let's be honest, this is an incredibly good angle, and you would be able to see exactly what happened. It's a live feed, not a recording. It happened to freeze on this exact moment. Okay. It's a live feed, not a recording. It's a live feed, y'all, not a recording. Y'all believe that? Y'all really believe that? Y'all believe that the city is going to set up a live feed and not have any recording of it? Gina S., I do know that that is an explanation that they gave, but does it sound credible? Does it sound credible that you're going to set up this expensive and extensive camera system and that you're going to have it just record and nobody that there's just going to be a live feed? So Gina, what does living in Atlanta have to do with it though? You live in Atlanta, so you verified that nobody's recording these live feeds? I don't know what one thing has to do with another. I think these live feed cameras are everywhere. I mean, we have traffic cameras as well. But that's not the point. The point is, why wouldn't you record it? Why wouldn't you record it? So anyway, y'all, this camera. All right, so let's take Gina. Let's take what Gina says. Gina believes the police when they say that they're not recording you. So let's say that this camera is not recording. We can all agree that this angle would have captured exactly what happened. Right or wrong? So the idea that it wasn't recorded or that it wasn't captured on camera, to use a more technical term, it was the killing of Shymel Drinks was captured on this camera, right? So if it wasn't recorded, it wasn't recorded. Frankly, we have no way of verifying, right? So Gina, what I'm saying about you is, about what you're saying is, they told you they don't record it, and you say, okay, I believe you, basically. And you might, that might be the right thing. It might be that they just don't record it. But what I'm saying to you is that, how do you go to Diddy's house? He said, hey, there's a camera right there. It's on. It's just putting everything on this big screen, but we're not recording. How do you know if it's recorded? You know what I'm saying? They have a camera. The feed is going through to a screen. How do you know nobody's recording it? That's my point. I mean, they told you that. Maybe we just believe them. Peter Ortiz agrees. Anyway, y'all. But the idea is, we really don't have to get, I know I got a little bit hung up on it, but that's really not even the point. The point is, the Drinks murder was caught on camera. That's really the point. That's really the point. Okay? So the Drinks murder was caught on camera right here. If there's nobody who recorded it, then nobody recorded it. But it did get caught on camera. So anyway, y'all, Mr. Cheeseborough is here. He gets out of his car. The camera certainly did record him getting out of his car, because we're looking at it right now. And Mr. Drinks is here in the front, and he stopped. Now, one thing you notice is his door is not open. So we have to imagine that though this image shows Mr. Drinks' door open, I think you can see that. His door is not open. So his door is not open in the image that we see from, it's pretty clear his door is not open from this image. So there really are some discrepancies here, but maybe they're not a big deal. All right, so we have Mr. Cheeseborough.
You've been with us before, so
he's a hero. Okay, Mr. Cheeseborough got involved in something that wasn't his business. He stopped to help somebody out, and he played a key role in this whole thing. He came to court to testify. We need to give it up for Mr. Cheeseborough.
You're still under oath, and you can go ahead.
Now, this is the guy that Andre thought was Mr. Cheeseborough, and Andre was yelling at Mr. Cheeseborough for like 2 or 3 live streams, like, Mr. Cheeseborough, damn you, Mr. Cheeseborough. And I was like, Andre, why are you so upset with Mr. Cheeseborough? He helped. And then Andre figured out that this guy is not Mr. Cheeseborough. This is Detective Hogan, okay? This is Detective Hogan. Now, Detective Hogan was the first guy on the scene, well, the first detective on the scene, I believe. Okay.
Now, once you made some observations of the body, what, if anything, did you do next?
Well, part of our initial visit to the crime scene is I try to gather any physical evidence or determine if there's any kind of evidence on the scene that's going to be interest to me or might further investigation. In this particular instance, we did a very thorough search for any shell casings. Obviously, we assumed there should be some shell casings in the intersection, or at least near the car, because of the amount of the shots that went into the car. We didn't find any.
Okay. Hair Alchemist, thank you for the super chat. I don't believe none of the evidence DA has not guilty. Now, this is where we're getting to why yesterday I called this video, Shannon's going to skate, Shannon's going to walk, Shannon will be found not guilty of this. Because did y'all just hear what he just said? Thorough investigation is his testimony.
The car, because of the amount of the shots that went into the car. We didn't find any. We did
no shell casings. Now he's going to give you two explanations for that.
a very thorough investigation, and we didn't find any shell casings. No physical evidence outside the car was discovered.
No physical evidence outside of the vehicle was discovered.
And as an investigator,
okay, y'all. Okay, so we have no physical evidence. If we go back, let me see, we had 20 minutes and 17 seconds. Look what happened when they killed look what happened when they killed McMiller and Ford. I'm gonna just go back real quick just to give y'all a visual. Sorry. Little bit before that. Look what happened when they killed McMiller and Ford. Just let it go forward a little bit. YouTube doesn't let me put it on the exact second I want to put it on, so we'll let it go forward a sec. Look what happened with McMiller and Ford. Okay, you see all of these little yellow things. Y'all probably already know this, but these little yellow numbers, these are all the places where they found physical evidence, probably shell casings. Okay, so when they killed McMiller and Ford, all of these little, and y'all can probably see them all the way up here. There's probably 20 of them or 30 or whatever. We can't even see all of them. This is physical evidence they found. So they took a picture of where they found all the evidence. Well, when it comes to the Shymel Drinks murder, no physical evidence is found on the ground.
We did a very thorough investigation, and we didn't find any shell casings. No physical evidence outside the car was discovered.
and as an investigator, was that a note to you that you did not find any shell casings?
Yes. I mean, at that particular time, I had a couple of theories. Was either he was shot, the shell casings landed in the intersection, and during the period of time before the shooting happened and he was discovered, with the cars driving through the intersection, it might have kicked up some shells and moved him out of the way. And they got gone, or he was shot from inside a car and the shell casings were inside the vehicle he was shot from. And those were just my assumptions on the scene at that time.
All right, so either the shells dropped on the ground and the cars kicked them up and moved them around. Y'all, if we're talking about one or two, you know what? Are they going to get stuck on the bottom of a tire? I mean, those shells would be out there somewhere. And if you're police and you're trained to find them, you're going to find them. Okay? Those shells would be out there somewhere. And if you're a police officer trained to find those shells, you're going to find them. That's my take on this. But he didn't find any shells. So maybe the shells were fired from, maybe the gun was fired from inside of a car and the shells fell in the car and they didn't fall on the ground. Okay.
Now, after Mr. Drinks was taken from the scene, did your investigation continue?
Yes.
How?
Well, didn't really have a whole lot to go on at that time on the scene. We had identified the victim, but other than that, physical evidence was really non-existent. I received a phone call from a Detective Grimsley. It's a friend of mine who works.
Okay, so let's skip this, y'all. Detective Grimsley helped. Now, we've all reviewed this video multiple times. I don't really want to go through this video again unless somebody has something in particular that you would like to point out. We can look at that thing in particular. We can skip to the end and look at that again real quick, but I don't think we need to go through the gas station video again. One thing that I did want to see was if this white car that we see here is the same white car where somebody gets out of the passenger seat and comes around and gets in the driver's seat. It does not appear to be the same vehicle. So I don't really want to go through this again. We've all watched this video multiple times. So I think we can kind of skip forward through most of this. One thing I did find interesting is on my rewatching of all of this, there's a few things. I will point out just a couple of things. Some people talk about this charger. This charger comes onto the scene. It rides through the gas station and it just pulls out. It comes on to the scene from our perspective, is from the right. Let's just back up a little bit. It's going to come into the gas station from the right. It's going to go out the back left. Some people have suggested it could have been Woody in that charger, but someone else said Woody was in prison or jail at the time. He was in jail. I think he got out in 2022. Is that suspicious that a white charger pulls around through the gas station? I would imagine every gas station in the world, every gas station in the United States has people ride through their parking lot every day in that fashion. You know, people have different reasons for doing that. Maybe they want to avoid a light, maybe whatever. So in and of itself, I mean, is it suspicious? Maybe. No, all of these streams are at 720. These are at 720. They don't stream at 1080. Not that I've seen anywhere. None of them seem to have any beef inside the store. Well, here at Alchemist, I don't believe Drinks and Nichols or Shannon were in the store at the same time. There's no evidence that they were in the store together. So the thing that's strangest to me is this guy is literally right next to, like standing right next to the person who he supposedly has a mortal beef with. I think that's what's so compelling about all of this. I think what's so compelling about all of this is that Drinks, we can see Drinks like pumping gas and kind of like, you know, I don't know his mental state, but he's pumping gas and kind of just chilling. And he's right next to the guy who his side is in a mortal beef with this guy's side. He's literally right next to him. And then right in front of him is another guy with that same group. Exactly. No one paid Drinks, no mind. Larky, they knew he was there. Come on. They knew he was there. He didn't know that they were there. Or if he did, he just cool as a cucumber and just like, you know, I'm going to just do me. But at no point did it look like he grabbed his gun. And he's just casually, I mean, is it possible he's just going to casually pump gas like this? This is deadly, y'all. This is not like fighting. This is not like he about to get jumped and he might be able to square up with 2 or 3 guys and walk away. 2 people just got killed 3 days ago. No, they did not all. They were not all in the store together. Let me just back this up real quick. All right, we're at 35:42. I'm gonna show you Drinks inside the store, just so that y'all. This is Drinks as he comes in the store. Thank you, Harp City, for the 5 bones. Appreciate it. This is Drinks as he comes in the store. We're gonna see the whole time Drinks is in the store. Let me put it on a little faster. This is the whole time Drinks is in the store. You can watch him. This, I'm gonna mute it. This is Drinks. This is his whole time in the store. Does he look like he's looking over his shoulder? Does he look like he's aware of what's coming up behind him? Does he look like somebody who, you have this guy up here who's having some kind of dispute. He calls Drinks over. Drinks saunters over. Drinks looks to help him out. And now Drinks is leaving. This is his entire time inside the store, y'all. So anybody who thought that he had any communication or even was in the store at the same time as the YSL guys, they were not in the store at the same time. Okay? Y'all got it? So that was his entire time at the store. You just saw drinks come in and leave the store. So I did see where the way they presented it, the evidence, it did seem like maybe they were in the store at the same time. I don't know if that was something that the prosecution did on purpose or again, it's just bad storytelling. But when you watch the video, you can see Drinks was not in the store with the YSL guys. Okay. All right.
9.
So he is pumping gas beside Nichols with Shannon right in front of him. Now, y'all, there's a couple of things that y'all need to know. And this is the interesting thing. We seen Nichols, we seen Farley, who's in the back seat of this white car. So Nichols is in the front seat, Farley's in the back seat. Shannon is in a car that's here, that's backed in over here, in Audi. Now we find out that Demekion Garlington was in the car with Shannon. That's one. You don't know that just by watching this video because Demekion Garlington does not get out the car to go into the store. So he's just chilling. Then we find out Mr. Boyer was reportedly also in the car with Shannon. Now, we didn't get a lot of information on Mr. Boyer because once Detective Viverito and Hilton, once they started talking about Boyer, Max Sharp objected and he kind of shut that down quickly. So we don't know a lot about Mr. Boyer. But while we saw 3 guys from YSL go into the store, we might have concluded, I concluded there must be at least one other guy because who's in the passenger seat of the white Ford Fusion? I think this is a Ford Fusion, right? Yeah, that's exactly right. That's the question. Who's in Nichols' front seat? There's some alternative explanations I could think of. The front seat's damaged. Somebody spilled a huge soda in the front seat and now they're sitting in the back seat. There's some plausible but not very likely explanations. The front seat is wet would be one thing that could possibly be an explanation that there's nobody in the front seat. But the most likely explanation is whoever's in the front seat just didn't get out. Miles Farley is not in the front seat. Miles Farley is in the back seat. Miles Farley is 100% in the back seat of the Ford. He's not in the front seat. Peter, thank you, sir. Always like to have Peter in the chat. Peter's very generous. Appreciate that. I'm just going to prove to y'all that Miles is in the back seat. Just in case.
Well, gives him a jump scare.
So these are the 3 YSL guys. The
3 all exit.
So this is Miles in the back.
Passenger exits with the other 2 drivers.
Okay. And you're going to see Miles is going to go talk to somebody. I guess we are going over this gas station video again. I don't mind. If y'all don't mind, I don't mind. I really don't. If y'all don't mind, if this is interesting still, let's keep doing it.
Goes
so Farley's going to say something to whoever's in this white car with the black top.
He speaks to someone in the white vehicle.
Okay, this is Farley. He's like a little guy.
With the black top.
Now he's going to go around the back of the gas pump. And Nichols gives him some space. And you're going to see Farley get in the back seat. It's very clear. This is the front seat here. Farley's getting in the back seat.
Implying someone may be in the front passenger seat, though this is not known for sure.
Farley was in the front, the back passenger seat. Excuse me. Farley was in the back driver's seat when he got out of the car in the first place. Peter Ortiz, the generous. We're going to call you Peter the Great. Peter the Great just dropped 5 memberships. Whoever got a membership, please say thank you to Peter. whoever got a membership, please say thank you to Peter. Peter, I definitely thank you for gifting the memberships and the 10 spot. Highly appreciate it. Okay, y'all. So, okay, if you don't mind, I don't mind. This is kind of fun. I mean, I know people are fighting for their lives and stuff, but listen, y'all, it's interesting going through this stuff. Okay, y'all are here because you're interested. Sometimes people say, "Oh, you shouldn't be. This isn't entertainment." It's interesting. Okay, that's the word I'm gonna use. So what we have is Miles Farley. He had gotten out of this back seat here. He got out of this back seat and he got back into the back seat. So somebody is, I would say 95% chance somebody's in the front passenger seat of this Ford Fusion. Somebody's 95% chance somebody's in it, but we don't know who it is. They're never identified. Okay. By the way, who is it that's charged with this murder? Demekion Garlington, Miles Farley, Shannon Stillwell, Quay Nichols. Quay had his charge dropped. Okay. That kind of, I think that kind of helps Farley because Farley was riding with Quay. If they drop the charge on Quay, it kind of helps me think that Farley might also get the charge dropped unless they want to pin him as the actual trigger man. Yes, Peter is awesome. Peter in the chat means we're going to have a rain of benefits. Yes, y'all do hit the like button, please. Appreciate it. Okay, so here we have Quay Nichols get back in his car. Okay, hold up. This was earlier.
Sit there for a few minutes.
This was earlier. Okay, so Drinks is real. I mean, he's real chill, y'all. He's real chill. And for us, we don't know Drinks, but it's like, dang, you want him to just, you don't want him to, you don't want violence to happen, but you just want him to kind of like, yo, come on, man. Get with it. All right, so, oh yeah, by the way, y'all, let's just watch real quick. The most suspicious thing that happened the whole time, in my opinion, was this. This white car pulls up. It's not the same kind of white car we saw earlier. But this white car
pulls up to a pump. The passenger gets out, walks around the back of the car, and gets in the driver's seat. No one from the car pumps gas or goes into the...
Y'all, this is the strangest thing. Speak Now TV. Speak now. Speak now. Put it in the chat. Y'all, this was to me, this was the most suspicious thing. Okay? To me, this was the most suspicious thing. Because I had a lot of people say, well, I do that. I switch seats like that. Not at a gas pump, y'all. Not at a gas pump. Nobody pulls into a gas station. You have all of this real estate in the back. And you have all this side real estate. You have all this back and side real estate. And you're going to pull up to a gas pump to switch seats and not pump gas. If you're going to pump gas, fine. If somebody's going to go in and use the bathroom, fine. If somebody's going to go in to buy some Twizzlers, fine. If they're going to wait for somebody in the gas station to come out and you just picking them up, fine. All of that stuff, fine. But you're telling me you have switched seats in a gas station, pulling up to a gas pump and not pumping gas or doing anything or doing any transaction with the gas station whatsoever. And seeing as how you're in a safe space with plenty of real estate on both sides, you can easily both get out of the car and walk around. Now, I get it. Some people like to just pop over from one side to the other. I get it. Okay. I do get it. My wife does that. My wife's preferred way of getting to the other side is to hop over the thing, over the center console. That's not strange. But if I'm going to switch sides with her and I'm going to pull up to a gas station, I'm probably going to pump some gas or, yo, let me go buy some whatever, or let me go use the bathroom, or you know, whatever. We're gonna do something. She's gonna make me, guys. You pull up to the gas station. If you don't want anything, your wife gonna want something. Your wife gonna be like, "Yo, buy me a Coca-Cola or something," right? I mean, am I tripping? Stretch your foot. Yeah, no. If you're traveling from out of town, you're gonna buy some gas. You can't. So it's impossible. This is a road trip situation because there's no possibility you're gonna pull up to a gas pump on a road trip and not pump gas. So you can't even. I say 0% chance this is a road trip. 0% chance. Because even if you didn't need gas, you'd be like, I'm already at a gas pump. Let me just put $10 on it. Might as well. So this is definitely not a road trip.
BP.
Drinks was talking to who? Drinks was talking to him before he left. Who was he talking to? Now this guy, you can see he looks like he has the key to the vehicle in his hand because I see his hand go up and like he unlocks the car. That's what I'm gonna see. But y'all tell me, what do you see this guy up here actually do? He tries the door, it's locked. And then he brings his hand up and like unlocks it. And now the door's unlocked. Right or wrong? Is that what y'all see?
Car and
so he
gets
tries
in the
it and
driver's
it's
seat.
locked. He brings his
No
hand
one
up
from the car
like he's
pumps gas
unlocking
or
it.
goes into the BP.
Tries it, it's locked. Looks like he. I just can't imagine what that's all about. I can't imagine what that's all about. I mean, there could be a good, there's got to be a good explanation. There's some explanation. I just don't know what it is. I can't imagine what it might be. So anyway, this guy sits here for some time, but he pulls off.
It's 10 o'clock.
He pulls off well before
2200.
Drinks and then pull off. Am I missing anything, y'all? I just don't think I'm pulling up to a gas pump, Unique. I might pull into a gas station, but I'm going to pull up over here on the side, or I'm going to stop in the back. I'm not going to pull up to the actual gas pump unless I'm about to pump some gas. Or if it's full and I'm about to go in and I don't see any parking spaces, maybe I'll pull up to the gas pump. But I'm not pulling up just to switch the seat at the pump. That's the point. I'm not switching seats I'm not pulling up to a gas pump. Now, you might pull up to a pump. There's other reasons you might say, man, I left my wallet at home. So, I mean, you know, there's other possible explanations. Oh, man, I don't have any money. I got to go back home. I mean, that's possible. So it's not impossible, but it's just the different set of events that would have to all come together just makes whatever's happening here just strange. But this person does pull off first.
Is it 2201 or 1001?
It's 2201 right now on the video.
So it's 10:01 p.m.
And there's a red car pull off at approximately 10:01 p.m. in the video.
Drinks leaves right after that person leaves. This to me, y'all, this to me is circumstantial evidence, but it is very bad for Shannon and for Nichols. As soon as Drinks is leaving, Shannon is like, yo, I'm following you. That's what it looks like.
Red car pulled off at approximately 10:01 p.m. in the video.
Y'all can't tell me Shannon didn't know Drinks was in front of him. Look.
Drinks pulls out of the gas station, followed by Stillwell, then Nichols.
And he got the tent on everything. Drinks has no clue.
For about at least 5 minutes prior to him pulling off.
Yes. And then the fusion as well.
And had that been sitting idle for about 5 minutes prior to him pulling off.
Yes.
All right, y'all. Now, this is one of the biggest missing pieces. And if anybody has seen it, let me know. What I see here is I see Drink's car go by. I see Shannon's car go by. And then I see Nichols' car go by. But then they cut. I don't think they let it keep playing to see what that third car was. Could be. Could be that
This camera's capturing images of
the only thing is there's at least 2 exits. Maybe how many exits are there from that gas station? There's one up here, there's one here, and there might be one even on this side over here to the left. So while this car might have gone out and waited, they really didn't know which way Drinks was going to go. They could have just lucked up and chosen the right way. Condom thief went into.
Images of the metadata on that.
Condom thief went to. Sorry to keep backing it up, but I'm just trying to answer these questions. We can watch condom
at the
thief.
gas pump next to Nichols. Investigators say that these 2 men are members of
Hold
2
up.
groups involved in a deadly feud. Drinks does not appear
We're gonna be able to watch the condom thief. He's gonna walk to this back black vehicle back here.
Drinks returns
At first, I thought he walked off into the darkness. That's what I said on a previous
to
video.
his car and appears to
Somebody
accidentally
pointed out
open the trunk when searching for the gas cap release.
the condom thief
He
is gonna
closes the
walk
trunk
all the way
and
up at the
begins to
top,
pump gas.
and he's gonna get into
Yes.
back here. He's gonna get into this vehicle all the way back here. It's a black car. You can see him get in right there. So that's where the condom thief guy went.
Meanwhile, a white car pulls up to a pump. The passenger gets out.
Not a military town.
Okay, so this is Drinks.
Drinks passes King Liquors, followed by Stillwell and Nichols.
But
Red car go by 10:01. Followed by the white car.
all right, there you have
10:01.
Stillwell.
Some seconds. And then
Now, what I wanted to see was what kind of car comes after Nichols. But you know what? Where's the next car? It cuts off. They cut it off before we see that next car. They cut it off before we see the next car. That's the problem. I wanted to see. People keep saying that this last car was a Hellcat, that the third car was not a Hellcat, a Charger. I don't know how people know that that's a Charger. People keep calling it a Charger. It could have been. Other people at first had called it an SUV. We can't tell what kind of car that is that shows up third.
Drinks arrives at the stoplight, followed by Stillwell, then Nichols.
the car that just pulled up to the light now is stopped. That's the red vehicle.
This car right here?
Yes. The Audi.
Now, y'all, mind you, I'm sorry y'all seeing it so small. Maybe if you're on a big, like a monitor like I am, you're able to see it big. If you're on your phone, it's going to be tiny. But take my word for it. Drink's car here to the left. Stillwell's car is to the right of Drinks. It looks like Stillwell did not pull up side by side with Drinks from this angle. It's not conclusive, but it looks like Stillwell. Let's see here. Looks like Drinks is out in the front a little and Stillwell stopped back a little. That's what it looks like. Initially, Nichols pulls up behind Stillwell. Then he goes around to the side of Stillwell, to the right.
First
side.
car to follow the red car out is the Audi, the white Audi. It's right next to it.
Right here?
Yes. And then
So y'all, they are all at the light together on a dark winter night, basically. Okay. They're all at the light together on a dark winter night. And there is a camera. Let me see. We're at 3824. I just want to go back and bring y'all's attention back to this. There's a camera right there. So what we just looked at, there is literally a camera right there. Maybe not recording in the sense of forming a recorded file, but it is recording in the sense of there is a live camera that is putting whatever's happening there at the camera, whatever's happening at the intersection, is putting it onto a screen somewhere where people can see it. Okay. So anybody who was watching this at this time would have clearly seen what happened to Drinks. It would not have been ambiguous. They would have clearly seen, most likely, what happened to Drinks. Now, few people have said, hey, it doesn't record. So meaning that you can't go back and grab a file of it and watch it over again. But it was recording in the same way our eyes record, as in whatever's happening in front of you, there's a consciousness of it. This camera it was processing what was happening, and any human watching it or who had their phone screen recording the screen or whatever, you would have seen this. This was broadcast. Let's put it like that. Drinks murder was broadcast. Maybe that's the way we could put it. Drinks murder was broadcast, y'all. Okay, so that's probably a good way. Yeah, the camera didn't freeze at the time the Drinks murder happened. The camera froze 20 minutes later. So when the Drinks murder was happening, there's every indication that this camera was functioning as normal. It froze after. This is not the moment of the murder. This is about 20 minutes later when Mr. Cheeseborough pulls up. But the point is, for all of our squinting and wondering and what the heck is happening, there's a camera right on the other side of Drinks that's pointed right at him that is capturing everything. That's the point. So y'all have to keep that in your mind as well. There's a camera pointed directly at him right now as we're watching from another camera kind of far away. There's a color camera, not HD, but high enough definition for any human to see exactly what's happening. And one, maybe it's not recording, and two, it's gonna malfunction either way. I doubt, y'all, when people say that the DOT cameras are not recording, I don't buy that. I don't buy it in the sense that there's no record of what's happening on these DOT cameras. Come on. I mean, anyway, let's keep it going.
That's the red vehicle.
Okay,
yes.
So Shannon pulls up.
The Audi.
You can actually see Nichols pull up behind Shannon.
The first car to follow
you can see Nichols stops back here.
Audi.
Then he's going to pull around to the right of Shannon.
Right here?
Yes. And then the Ford Fusion.
You're going to see Nichols pull around.
To the right of that.
Right here.
That's correct.
Now, what are some possibilities? Somebody hopped out of Nichols' car, ran up on Drinks, did the do, pop, 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 and then hopped back in Nichols' car. That's one possibility. Same possibility with Shannon's car. Somebody hopped out, did the do, hopped back in the car. That's two possibilities. Third possibility, Shannon himself did the do. That's a third possibility. I think it's less likely that Nichols did the do because he was driving and he wasn't beside drinks. So he would have literally had to park his car behind Shannon, hop out, do the do, get back, take it out of park, pull around. That doesn't seem likely. Somebody in Nichols' car wouldn't have had the whole driving situation, so they could have just hopped out and hopped back in quickly. But Nichols as a shooter in this situation, it doesn't seem likely. Shannon is in a position to be a shooter. Anybody on the driver's side in Shannon's car is in a position to be a shooter. Because Nichols pulls up behind Shannon at first, somebody could have hopped out, quickly gone up to Drink's car, did whatever they had to do, and then hopped back in Nichols' car. And then Nichols pulls around. That's I think maybe possible. These are just possibilities. You're going to see Nichols pull around Shannon in a sec to the right. It's very clear.
There's traffic going in the opposite direction where the car stopped. Right?
See,
Yes,
right there.
Now trying to go on to I-20.
Did y'all see that turn? Was that clear to y'all?
Eastbound.
What are you saying? What about? Yeah, I'm not saying I see anybody hop out. I'm just talking about in the world of possibilities because the thing got done. Okay, so I'm just talking about in the world of possibilities. You have multiple guys in one car, you have multiple guys in the other car, you have two cars. Who could have done it? Okay, that's all I'm talking about. I'm certainly not saying I think anybody did anything. I'm just bringing up possibilities. I do think you have a good point there. The no shell casings thing is a huge point. Somebody who hopped out the car would have dumped, as we say, they would have dumped, but they would have left shell casings. Unless you're going around picking them up, I don't think that's likely. So I do think that the lack of shell casings is a very, very big piece of evidence, or lack of evidence, I would say.
A third car approached.
Now, this Shannon, people have said Shannon has 9 lives, y'all. I mean, I hope Shannon, if he gets out of this, like, my man got to become like the biggest proponent of peace in the history of the world. Morning, Cars and Drama. Shannon's got to become the biggest proponent of peace in the history of the world. Like, I need this brother to be like, listen, okay? Because this third car, y'all, presuming that Shannon or somebody in one of these cars actually did do it. I mean, again, I'm not saying I think that's what happened. I don't know what happened. But if we just let's just consider this third car would have just saved everybody, because this third car showing up on the scene, like I said, this could be a little old lady. This could be a little old lady, y'all. It could be a little old lady. Yeah, she would have been driving fast, but some little old ladies drive fast. This could be a little old lady who just pulled up on the scene, and when she saw those cars take off, she pulled up and just, what? And she's looking, and she's like, oh my gosh. And she didn't call 911. We don't know.
Some believe that this car contains the shooter.
Now, one thing that's interesting is when this car pulls up, Shannon and them leave. Is it just a coincidence, or did Shannon and them see this car coming up and they like, yo, we need to get out of here?
Stillwell and Nichols run the red light and leave the scene.
Off through traffic.
The third car approaches Drink's vehicle. Some say they see what appears to be muzzle flashes.
You have turn signals, you have all kind of lights going on. You really just can't tell. Like, there's a light. Looks like a turn signal. I can't tell. I can't tell.
Diffusion.
A person can be seen walking in the vicinity.
Okay, so you're going to have a human who's clearly there walking, and you suppose that there's going to be gunfire, that there already was, or there's about to be, or there is at this very moment gunfire, actually. But this person seems to just keep walking in that direction. So somebody's like, yo, that's what it's like in the hood. All right. You would know better than I do. So people in the hood see a shootout and they're just like, blah-de-da. Just going to keep walking toward it. No problem. I don't know. I've lived in some rough areas. I don't know if I would call it the hood though, but I've lived where gunfire would ring out from time to time. And I think if it was over there and I'm walking in that direction, I'm gonna be like, whoop, going in the other direction. So
well, the Audi did, yes, ma'am.
And was there still oncoming traffic coming?
A car suddenly does a U-turn, perhaps due to seeing and/or hearing gunfire.
Or did a U-turn, which is a little
The third car is still beside Drinks.
odd.
Drinks' brake lights appear to flicker, prompting some to believe he was still alive at this time.
y'all, initially I said that looked like a person. In this video, I switched it up and I said it's his brake lights appear to flicker.
Alive at this time.
There's no way to tell what that was. There's no way. The video's too grainy. I did switch that up to
The
brake
third
lights.
car leaves.
Okay, so that's all we have, y'all. That's all we have. It's definitely third car pulled up. It's the shooter. Watch the
Now,
film.
after looking,
Yeah, a lot of people keep talking about muzzle flashes. Y'all, the muzzle flash in comparison to a car light, the muzzle flash is going to be tiny. I just don't think there's anything conclusive. There's nothing conclusive. Where he was shot at, tell you Shannon didn't shoot him. Drinks was shot in the back of his neck. We're gonna see that in a sec.
at the
We're gonna see
surveillance
that in a
video, did you receive any assistance from a detective learning of the LPR reads? Did you get any other?
Okay, so he went and
investigative
grabbed
assistance?
these guys.
I did.
What other assistance? At 2:00.
The investigators did not know that Demikion Garlington.
Okay, now listen to this. This is something we didn't find out. At least I didn't know this until this week. Listen to this. I'm gonna turn the volume up, y'all.
Was on the scene the night of Drink's murder, but a wiretap call gave them evidence that he was.
Now,
Y'all, this is what I'm not getting. They have these phones tapped, right? So nobody said anything definitive. Listen
when you
to this.
met with Detective Hogan, were you aware if Demikion Garlington was at the BP gas station?
I was not.
At what point in time did you learn that Mr. Garlington was at the BP gas station?
When I went back and reviewed the wiretap data.
Now, as a part of your kind of continued listening to this wiretap, did you ever find any calls after the death of Mr. Shymel Drinks in the early morning hours of March 15th, 2022, with Demikion Garlington discussing the shooting or discussing driving back through a certain area?
There was a call where it appeared that he was discussing driving back through and looking at the location.
I'm going to publish Stacey.
All right, y'all, listen to what Viverito said. There was a call where he was discussing driving back through and looking at the location. So this is something we didn't know. This whole time we were giving all our theories and stuff about what happened. We didn't know until just, what was it, yesterday or 2 days ago? 2 days ago. We didn't know that, one, Demikion Garlington was in the car with Shannon, or two, he hopped on the phone and talked about going back through and looking at the location. That's how Viverito describes what we're about to hear.
March 15th, 2022 at 2:01 a.m.
Yo.
All right, man. All kind of shit, man. I just jumped in the other car, bro. Y'all niggas don't be getting dropped off and then got no motherfucking ride to go back home to. That don't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fuck you getting dropped off for a nigga ride with a nigga who wrote you?
Yeah.
That's stupid as fuck. So, and you need to be on the damn air, so. What the hell? What's wrong with
We right here. We right here down here.
y'all? What?
Ride past trying to see.
I'm finna meet up with y'all. Nigga, I'm finna go get a fill up.
Did y'all hear what he said? We're down here riding past trying to see or something like that. This is 2:00 in the morning. Okay, I'm gonna play that one more time.
We're right here down here.
Yeah, what?
Ride past trying to see.
I'm finna meet up with y'all. Nigga.
Y'all, this is okay. Bianca said he didn't say, he said in the city. Y'all, this is what Hilton and Viverito just said is riding past the scene or riding past trying to see. Okay, people are saying it's city, right? But do y'all see though? I'm gonna play it one more time.
All right, man. All kind of shit going on. I just jumped in the other car, bro. Y'all niggas don't be getting dropped off and they ain't got no motherfucking ride to go back home to. That don't make sense.
Yeah.
The fuck you getting dropped off for? Nigga ride with the nigga who wrote you.
Yeah.
That's stupid as fuck. So, and you need to be on the damn what's wrong with
We're right here down here.
Yeah, what?
Ride past trying to see.
I'm finna meet up with y'all. Nigga, I'm finna go get a fill up.
Gotta get a fill up for fight, right?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm listening.
Huh?
I said, alright, I'm from listening. We're going.
I just I'm pulling out now. Y'all nigga.
Back turn. You say
I was gonna jump in with y'all.
alright. That's what I'm saying, Kyle. What you doing?
Alright, I'm gonna get the fill up now.
Alright.
Now, did you hear when Mr. Garza says that he was riding past just trying to see?
I did.
And with this call,
Y'all hear that? So everybody telling me I need to understand Southern lingo. Everybody telling me I need to understand Southern lingo. Yeah, maybe I do. But also Hilton, who is presenting in front of a Georgia, presumably a Fulton County jury of the peers of these guys, she presented this as riding past just trying to see. So my point is not whether I need to understand it or not. My point is Hilton appears to be taking a huge risk by saying that this is riding past just trying to see. If the people in front of her can clearly hear that that's not what he said. Y'all understand my point? So my point is not so much what did he say. I personally did not hear. It seems to me she mischaracterized him. Okay? But my point is, if whatever he did say, Hilton characterized it as riding past just trying to see. Okay? So riding by doesn't mean he was there. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm certainly not drawing any. But let's continue to listen.
Sitting here now, were you able to remember if the wiretap picked up location data for that call?
I can't recall offhand. I'd have to review it.
Medical examiner Melissa Sims Stanley testified as to Drink's cause of death and addressed questions about his foot being on the brake pedal when police found him.
So the findings that you just talked about, are they consistent with someone being shot while in a vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you talked about in States Exhibit 145 BV that this wound on the neck was an entrance wound. Can you tell the jurors, is there an exit wound associated with this injury, this shot to the neck?
There was not. The bullet was retained within the body.
Okay, and I should have asked you this first. In the exhibit we're looking at in 145 BV, can you tell the jurors what side of Mr. Drink's body is this gunshot wound to the neck?
This is the right side of the neck.
This would be the side that's, I guess, closest to, if you're sitting in the driver's seat of a vehicle, to the passenger, I guess, compartment.
Correct, yes.
Now, can you tell the jurors, if there is no exit wound, can you explain to the jurors, were you able to determine during the external and internal portions of the autopsy that you performed, the pathway of travel of the projectile or bullet through Mr. Drink's neck and into his body?
Yes, the bullet entered the right side of the neck. It was going upward, in other words, towards the top of Mr. Drink's head and to his left. So the bullet passed through the soft tissue of the neck and impacted the base of the skull, fractured the base of the skull, and caused bleeding within the brain case, and also caused a small laceration of the base of the brain. Well, in this case, the bullet fracturing the base of the skull, this represents a massive injury to the skull and also to the brain. It caused bleeding on the surface and within the brain. And whenever there is massive trauma such as this to the brain, consciousness is lost immediately. However, I could not determine whether this shot was instantly fatal or if Mr. Drink still had some cardiac and respiratory activity for some undetermined period of time. Sometimes with these catastrophic injuries to the brain can send out a signal to the heart, which causes the heart to either stop beating immediately or to go into a lethal rhythm. So consciousness would have been lost immediately, but whether death was instantaneous or there was some cardiac activity or breathing activity for some period of time, I couldn't determine.
And can you explain to the jury, based on the circumstances you kind of just described, I know you described what the brain, the message that is sent to the heart. Can you explain to the jurors, are there other things that the body does under these circumstances? And I mean, are there any involuntary actions that the body can produce as it relates to someone who was shot in this manner?
Well, if there was still cardiac and respiratory.
Okay, so curious one. I think that the medical examiner said that the shot may have gone upward once it entered the body. You'll see that a lot. And it's very strange because we think about bullets being these like high-powered projectiles that are not going to change course once they enter the body, but they often do. And I'm not sure she was able to determine that the shot went at an upward angle when it entered the body, or maybe entered the body and then kind of took an upward path once it entered the body.
Activity, then there could have been obviously breathing. As people are dying, they can exhibit abnormal patterns of breathing. So I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to.
And I guess I'll give you an example. In an instance where someone is shot like this, and can someone's hands clench and it remain clenched because of the immediate traumatic injury that they received to their brain?
It's possible, yes.
Doctor, Mr. Abadi just asked, after being shot in the neck in the way that Mr. Drinks was, unfortunately, whether it's possible that one's foot could remain on on a break if it was already there. And you said that's possible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is not possible, you would agree it's not possible after suffering that wound that someone would be actively moving their feet up and down off the brake. That would not be possible, would it?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
So
Prosecutors allege that someone in Stillwell.
all right, y'all. So y'all see what Max is setting up here, right? Max is setting up to argue later that after Shannon and Nichols, Quay, after they pull off, that it appears that the car in which Mr. Drinks was driving, the car he was driving, it appears that the car maybe lurched forward, maybe went forward. And he's gonna, I imagine, he's gonna bring back this testimony and recall the jury to the medical examiner saying that though there might have been some involuntary movement, there would not have been the kind of voluntary movement that you need to, say, move the car forward or something like that. I think that is what Max is setting up. Now, y'all, this is the GSR. I brought this clip to the video yesterday so that everybody can get a visual of what GSR looks like, okay? This is GSR. This is gunshot residue. All of this plume or particles within this plume, I'm not going to say the whole plume because there are gases and stuff, but within this plume that you see, some of this is going to be tiny particles that we're going to hear the scientist, the investigator, we're going to hear him describe it here shortly. Some of this is like are tiny particles. Some of this are gases and whatnot too, okay? But this is what it looks like to see that plume coming out. Oh, by the way, y'all, let's take a look and see what the muzzle flash of this gun looks like.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is not possible, you would agree it's not
Leave.
Let's take a look at the muzzle flash too.
That would not be possible, would it?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Prosecutors allege that someone in Stillwell's car
Y'all
shot
can see
Drinks
that
from
muzzle
inside
flash
the
is
car,
not that bright.
shooting a gun in a.
Correct.
That muzzle flash is not that bright. It's not 100% that we would see a muzzle flash.
Prosecutors allege that someone in Stillwell's car shot Drinks from inside the car. Shooting a gun in a vehicle would likely leave so-called gunshot residue, or GSR. But despite testing Stillwell's Audi for GS.
So you see all these particles. Some of this is what's called GSR, okay? I can't point to you like this particle is, this particle's not. These are gases. This is an explosion, essentially. Some of this would be GSR, and we can see that this plume, if you were to shoot this within a car, some of this plume would become embedded in the fabric if you have upholstery in your car.
Investigators were not able to find any.
Okay.
This instrument will then allow us to see what's on the surface of those samplers. Any particulate matter that is there, we can see it, and then get an elemental profile of what those particles are made of. So again, with GSR, we're looking for molten particles containing all three of the elements together: lead, barium, and antimony. And for me, I used 2 stubs for this particular headliner.
And what was the results of your testing?
The samples from the headliner, from the Audi A5, failed to reveal any particles that are characteristic of GSR.
This finding was damaging for the prosecution's case. If someone inside Stillwell's car had shot from inside the car, investigators would expect to find GSR in.
Y'all, this is why this actual moment, this is why I put on yesterday's video that Shannon will be not guilty of the Drinks murder. This is it.
And what was the results of your testing?
The samples from the headliner, from the Audi A5, failed to reveal any particles that are characteristic of GSR.
This finding was damaging for the prosecution's case. If someone inside Stillwell's car had shot from inside the car, investigators would expect to find GSR inside the vehicle. If they had stuck the gun outside the car and fired, they would expect to find shell casings on the ground. Investigators found neither GSR in the car nor shell casings at the scene. Following Drink's death...
That's it. That is my conclusion. So then I did put here what happened following, just to give y'all some additional context. But that was the conclusion. If you roll down the window and stick the gun out of the car and fire, then you should find shell casings, probably. It's not 100%, because you could have used a revolver, and the revolver does not eject the shell casing. So there's some, there's always some, well, what about this, but what about that? But we haven't seen one revolver in this whole trial. If we saw a bunch of revolvers in this trial, then you might start saying, oh, hold up now, they were using revolvers. But we haven't seen one in this whole trial, so we can kind of rule that out a little bit. So you don't have shell casings on the ground. And okay, well, maybe they didn't stick the gun out of the car. Maybe if it's Shannon, though, who's the driver, it would be difficult to shoot somebody through your driver's window without sticking the gun out the car. Can we all agree with that? If you're driving a car and you're going to shoot somebody on this side, y'all are seeing me in reverse, but if you're going to shoot somebody over here on your side, there's almost no option but to stick the gun out the car. Let me think. Maybe not. Let me see. You're driving. I'm right-handed. So it's possible I will grab the gun with my right hand and just do like this. That's good. That gun gonna be mighty close to my face, though. I think I'm grabbing it with my left. Even though I'm not left-handed, I think I'm grabbing it with my left and I'm sticking and I'm just trying to get the buck off with the left. I don't think I'm gonna do even though I'm right-handed, I don't see how I can do this and shoot across my body without having that gun being right in my face. But everybody's different. Some people might want to, if the state folks on making him the one who greenlit the murder, they would have something, but making, yeah, but you would need evidence of that is the problem. Correct. Why wasn't their clothing tested? They had on the same clothes when arrested. Who knows? So y'all, that's my conclusion. My conclusion is, as a juror, when you're presented with the burden of reasonable doubt and you just asked, someone says, hey, this guy did it. Then you get the whole explanation and you're asked, do you have a reasonable doubt that the guy did it? I think the answer is yes. I have a reasonable doubt. I'm not going to say he didn't do it, but I have a reasonable doubt that he did it. Quay's car was also charged with the murder. Delicates of life. Quay was charged. Miles Farley is charged. Okay, they were in Quay's car. And you have Shannon Stillwell and Demekion Garlington who are charged. They were in Stillwell's car. So you have 4 people charged for this. Yeah, that's the reasonable doubt, 73. That's the reasonable doubt. All right, y'all. So let's talk about what happened after this. This is
news.
His name is Peanut as well. You know Big Nut, Donovan Thomas? He was named Peanut. His nickname was Peanut. Well, so was Shymel Drinks. His nickname was Peanut as well.
Quickly, social media posts reflected grief among those who knew him best, including Kelvin, Shell Kel, Watts. Watts is brother of Donovan, Big Nut, Thomas, who was killed in 2015. Both Drinks and Thomas were known by the nickname Peanut. Fulton County officials have charged YSL associates with the murders of both Drinks and Thomas. In particular, Shannon Stillwell has been indicted for both murders.
All right, y'all. So I'm gonna just jump forward. Oh, and this lady here, we come back to her in the video because she investigated the Water Street shooting.
Yes.
And was that about 5 days after?
Yo, this was big.
Next door.
This was a big.
The house next door. There were defects also in the fence.
On the gate are the defects.
That is a vehicle parked.
Looking at.
So this was the get back.
You can look behind. In 260.
Between YSL members.
How many you at?
All right.
Between YSL members as they ran for their lives and hid.
And did you have an opportunity to hear any calls from the wiretap around March 16, 2022, around the time in which the police or after the police were at the location? We're going to start with March 16, 2022 at 12:22 a.m.
Yo, how the hell you at? Where the hell you at? Hey, ain't like no little bad cut. Oh no, what the heck? I think they in the front. Man, they gotta goddamn get through their back. They can't come in the house. Yeah, that was my house. Shut up, open the door.
And listening to that call, are you able to determine who Mr. Garner was speaking with?
I believe he's speaking with Mr. Stillwell.
Y'all, they must have had a wiretap on Garlington in particular. I don't know if they had it on all of them, but Garlington show up a lot in these calls. You get a lot of Garlington.
And YSL members expressed relief after the
Okay, we don't need to play this. This is
like,
after the shooting.
boy.
Okay, y'all. So this is why I say I think Shannon will be found not guilty on the Shymel drinks. I think Shannon will be found not guilty on Shymel drinks murder, y'all. And it's because when you look at the evidence, he was in the vicinity. He had maybe a motive or I don't know if I would call it a motive, but he had a context in which we can understand he would want to do this. But what we don't have is conclusive evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. What we don't have is conclusive evidence beyond a reasonable doubt, y'all. Big Skez, thank you, sir. So we're thinking that Shannon and the victim were going back and forth, and the third car pulled up and did the deed, or the third car pulled up just to get a closer look after it was done. I think, so if I had to give that's the thing, like there is no, a lot of people are saying, oh, the third car definitely did it. I don't think there's any definite to it. People are saying they saw muzzle flashes. I saw flashes of lights, but I cannot identify those as muzzle flashes. Also, what y'all have to keep in mind, if Shannon was and the other people involved, if they were part of the plot and the plan, they would be on trial for murder still. So it's not like who pulled the trigger is not the only question. If you set somebody up, if you like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna pull up and I'm gonna shout some stuff or whatever, and then you pull up and pop them. Well, I'm part of the plot, y'all. Okay, so that doesn't get me off the hook. So the problem is that for the state anyway, is that the state does not have a narrative. They don't have a narrative. They don't have a narrative. So a lot of people are saying, I think most trial watchers, their current prediction or their current indication is that the third car came up and just did it. But again, in order to have reasonable doubt, That's all you need. Was it the third car? Now, imagine going into the jury room, though. Can we imagine going into the jury room for a moment, y'all? Imagine going into the jury room and there's a person, male, female, old, young, professional, not, unprofessional, well-spoken, not well-spoken, whatever race. And that person says, but y'all, what do we think that these guys followed him out of the gas station? They had a problem with him. They follow him out of the gas station. They stop next to him at a stoplight. They pull off through traffic, through oncoming traffic, through a red light, and just by coincidence, somebody unrelated shows up and shoots the person, like by the world's biggest, deepest, most coincidental coincidence in history. These guys are there next to a person that they have a problem with, that they followed, that they have an opportunity to get, and their boys just got shot 2 days ago, and they have an opportunity to get some get back, and they don't take it. And by the coincidence of all coincidences, within 5 seconds, somebody else totally unrelated shows up and does the do, who's just totally unrelated to the whole thing. So it does stretch the imagination to its breaking point that the third car is totally unrelated to YSL. I mean, can we at least be reasonable humans here, y'all? It stretches your imagination to the breaking point to think that the third car was totally unrelated and just showed up as a coincidence. Okay? So it's almost certain that if the third car did it, that they were somehow involved, right or wrong. You don't get to imagine. That's not true. That is not true, Nakia. You do get to imagine. You absolutely do get to imagine. Who said you can't imagine? Is that against the rules? Of course you get to imagine. Now, I do agree with you. We do need proof, but your imagination is how you make sense of the proof. Okay? Your imagination is how you make sense of the proof. I'm not square, and I've been watching this trial closely. I don't know who got acting, who didn't. No way in hell the jury does. Yes, the jury is not going to know. I agree with that. And I think there's enough here for reasonable doubt that Shannon or anybody in those two cars did it. That's why I say I think they get off. I mean, I made that clear. I made it clear today. I made it clear with the video. But the thing is, we just can't put ourselves in the mind of the jury. That's really my point. Are you serious? Where's the evidence? You're asking about evidence. We just saw videotape evidence of them being at the gas station at the same time. We just saw videotape evidence of them following the victim out of the gas station. We just saw videotape evidence of them pulling up to the victim at a stoplight where he got shot. And we saw videotape evidence of them going off through a red light. Now, Nakia, what you're asking for is, where's the undeniable proof? But I will tell you this. Let me not put words in your mouth. It seems like to me, you're saying, where is the undeniable proof? Because we just looked at the evidence. All of this videotape evidence is evidence. Okay. That's what it's called. It's literally in the courtroom. It's evidence. Okay. That's what the term is for what we just watched. It's not proof, though. It's not proof. And that's why, again, I said I think Shannon gets off. But it is certainly evidence. And most convictions, y'all, throughout history are not going to be something, where you got somebody on video doing the deed. Okay. So you got to get that out of your head. You're not going to have a videotape or an audio tape of the deed being done in most convictions, criminal convictions, murder convictions throughout history. You just don't have that. So you have to get that out of your head. Case of coincidence, 2 Audis, 2 pink hats. Why not? I don't know. I think I agree. Not guilty. But not guilty does not mean did not do it. It just means there's a reasonable doubt. It just means there's a reasonable doubt. Yes, this is circumstantial evidence. I agree with you on that, but it's evidence nonetheless. Y'all, think about it like this. Nobody misunderstand me as comparing humans to animals, okay, before I say this. But if you come home, you have a dog, you come home and you had a hamburger or whatever that was on the table. You come home and the hamburger's gone and the hamburger wrapper is torn up and it's in the dog's bed or whatever, wherever the dog likes to eat. That's circumstantial evidence that the dog ate the hamburger, y'all. It's circumstantial. You don't have a video of it. You didn't examine the contents of the dog's stomach or his mouth to determine if he has hamburger. It's circumstantial. I had a burger. It was on my table. Now the burger's gone. To my knowledge, nobody else has been in my house, and the wrapper for the burger is half chewed up and it's in the dog's bed where the dog likes to eat. That's circumstantial evidence. We convict people with circumstantial evidence. We get into fights and arguments and everything with circumstantial evidence all day, every day. That's probably the number one type of evidence we have. We don't normally have hard proof of something. Okay? So but again, y'all have to understand my point is that I think Shannon gets off because you have a reasonable doubt. But I think sometimes people they put the burden like, no, well, it could have been that the aliens came from, and it's like, no, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Patron, good morning. So my point is, Shannon gets off. I think the third car is a good enough possibility for who might have done it. But I think in reality, put it like this. If all of y'all had $1 million and you had to wager whether Shannon and them had something to do with the third car, how many of y'all are going to put your million on, know that third car was unconnected to anybody? You know what? Can I do a poll? I'm going to do a poll real quick. This deserves a poll. See how many of y'all will actually come through and really put your money where well, it's not money, but I wish it was. I wish it were. All right, I'm going to do a poll. Y'all, while I get this poll together, I did hear that Doug Weinstein said he's not going to be presenting a case. Can somebody give me the link for that so we can watch that? I'm starting a poll. Was the third car connected to YSL? Yes or no? No maybes, y'all. We aren't going to be cowards here. It's just a poll. Was the third car connected to YSL? Use those exact options. I believe Shannon didn't do it, but the question in the poll is, was the third car connected to YSL? Yes or no? Was the third car connected to YSL? Yes or no? Okay. I was standing fooling around that time, claiming YSL back then. We'll get it is wild. Enrique, thank you, buddy. Thank you for the comment. I can't say I would I can't say I would say they had something to do with it, but there is a high chance they knew another person, probably deceased Mr. Drinks, probably another person, third car as well. So, okay. Well, thank you for that. Y'all, I want to just play Doug Weinstein. I'm going to try to find it on TikTok because he's been on TikTok a lot. And then we'll wrap it up. Let me give y'all a little bit of a, I want to give y'all a little bit of a, I guess this will be education for some of y'all, okay? Some of you will already know this, but this will be education for some of you. The defense does not have to present a case. The defense does not have to present a case. So the defense could look at what the prosecution has done and say, well, we don't even think that they've met the burden of proving something of proving something beyond a reasonable doubt. So we're not even going to put on a case. All right. So the defense does not have to put on a case. All right, let's see if we can find Mr. Weinstein real quick before we go. And then we'll go. Let's see. Is this it?
So being a lawyer, being a trial attorney, is exactly like you see it in Suits. Today, the prosecutors and defense attorneys gathered in the courtroom, no judge, no staff attorney, no court reporter. And what did we spend the day doing? Or at least part of the day doing? Going through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of exhibits, piece by piece.
Is this the one?
Putting them in order, organizing them.
I don't think this is the one.
Getting ready for.
I don't think that's the one.
It is a gorgeous fall day.
Somebody direct me to which one.
Blue skies, absolutely perfect football weather. So I have decided to celebrate this incredible weather.
Oh, okay.
I am going to spend all weekend inside working.
Got you. It's on with another YouTuber. Okay, got it. Well, I don't know where that is. So, y'all, let's kind of wrap it up. I think we've been going for 2 hours. This is pretty good. Oh yeah, y'all. Let me give y'all my other channel because I have been trying to get people to go and subscribe on the Morbid Law Stories channel. The Morbid Law Stories channel is doing pretty well. So let me give y'all that channel real quick, and then we'll look at the results of the poll, and we'll wrap it up. If you would, before you go, please subscribe to the other channel, the Morbid Law Stories channel. And I'm going to end the poll so we can wrap it up, y'all. We got 87 votes. So out of basically 10% of y'all actually went ahead and voted, which is not a very good response, but basically 50-50. So about half of the people who responded to the poll think that the third car was just some independent car that had nothing to do with anything that just showed up. Half of y'all think that this third car just showed up out of nowhere and coincidentally did drinks while he was beside other ops. Y'all, that's crazy. I mean, I don't know. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and wrap it up. So do hit the like button. Again, please go to the other channel. We're going to be posting more stories on that channel. Bruce, nice to see you. You'll be able to play this back. We just went over all the reasons that I believe that Shannon is going to get off on the Shymel Drinks murder. People have mentioned that his family think they have the wrong people. I don't know how much. I mean, you certainly want to respect the family, but if they know who the killer, if they know who the person is, then, you know, I'm not going to say they have to tell us, but certainly they need to tell somebody. Oh, Andre, did you find it? Let's see. Big Scares, thank you, sir. The state should have condensed this all into a 1-month trial. They dragged it out so long. I agree. I think what the state did was they brought in too many people to testify to the same thing. They brought in too many people to testify to the same thing. Andre, what's the timestamp on this, man? This is a 30-minute. This is 30 minutes long. What's the timestamp for where he says that? Anybody have the timestamp for where Doug says they're not going to present a case? And we'll take a look at it. So if Doug says they're not going to present a case, y'all, the case against Yak on the Donovan Thomas is weak at best, but Yak is also charged with some other stuff. So I would like to hear what Doug says, but let me see.
Seems like a good time here, Justice Steve.
The amounts are too high. Going back and renewing motions to
time
over 300 less. So there is so much. I blame myself for not. State is required to go first, but
I mean, they have the burden. They get to go last. That I get, but to defer and put the defense up front, I just.
It's going forward. I don't know who from their side is doing closing, which is the question I always get.
You don't think Ms. Love might pop in and da 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 da? You know,
I mean, that we're going to need on appeal. There's some law in Georgia.
If there's a conviction, let him go, not probation, but house arrest or whatever it is you want to call it.
No timestamp. All right, y'all. Well, we'll just leave that for another day. Big Scares, thank you. The state should have condensed all this into a 1-month trial. They dragged it out so long we had time to put it under a microscope. Correct. If they had condensed all this into a 1-month trial, this would have been a lot more impressive. And this, y'all, see what I think a lot of people don't understand. This is a judgment game, y'all. Like, forgive me, I forget the person who I was just kind of responding to said there's no evidence. Of course, there's evidence. The state has presented lots of evidence. The thing is that they have not presented their evidence in a convincing way. And I don't think that they have enough evidence to convince you, to convince me of many of the charges. But the criminal street gang charge, I think the state is closest to proving or to convincing me of the criminal street gang charge, y'all. I mean, how many shootings, how many tattoos, how much lingo, how many logos, how many colors, how many when are we gonna call it a gang? You know what I'm saying? When are we gonna call it a gang? We got the logo, we got the tattoos, we got the hand signs, we got the lingo, we got the actual name, we have the rivalry, we have the shootings, we have the killings, and we're gonna say, oh nah, it's just a record label. It can't be both. It can't be both. I mean, are we so prejudiced in our evaluation that we can't understand this could be both? So I think the criminal street gang charge is the closest to being proved, in my opinion. Most of the other stuff, I'm not there with it. But the criminal street gang charge, I think they've done enough to convince a reasonable person, like, yes, this was a criminal street gang. Now, was Jeffrey Williams the head of it, like a capo? I don't think they did hardly anything to prove that. Was he running it like some kind of mob boss? I don't think they did anything to prove that. But was this what we would think of as a gang? I mean, you'd have to be very resistant to evidence to say it wasn't. Do I think Death Row Records was a gang? Objective questions. I don't know. It's a good question. But I think that YSL, listen, they brought Obama to the stand a couple of days ago. This is going back to the person asking about death row records. They brought Obama to the stand 2 days ago. And they said, Obama, do you rap? And he said, no. So he doesn't rap and he's YSL. What is he? Is he a music producer? No. Well, then how is he YSL if it's just a record label? He's not talent. Is he an accountant for the company? Is he what? It was clear that he was a gang member of the company. Okay. So if you're not talent, if you're not at all in any way helping the business to run, if you have people who are YSL, who have no function in the business, but they are YSL and they just happen to be gun carrying, drug dealing members of society, then you're giving YSL a name that's not just a record label. I mean, we just got to be honest, people. Can we just be honest? We just have to be honest. Like, I feel like on some level, there's a resistance to just recognize some of this stuff that at least appears to be the case. And, Mungtong says YSL is not a gang. Woody says YSL is not a gang. But according to the statute, YSL was a gang, So, it is what it is. That's like me when I was growing up in the DC area. We would always say, we don't have gangs in this. We don't have gangs here. That's like a West Coast thing. That's like Crips. That's like Bloods. But if you apply today's statute to the groups we did have at that time, they were gangs. We didn't call them gangs, but they do meet the statutory definition of a criminal street gang. That's the point. Let's see. Somebody said timestamp is 9:57. Let's take a look.
On by the state, and I want to do it. Sadly, it's really more for hidden from the prosecution that at least at this point, I don't plan on calling any witnesses. I'm heavily tempted to call a lyrics expert for the purposes of just dispelling all of the false notions and propaganda put on by the state. And I want to do it. Sadly, it's really more for public benefit of debunking this, but I don't think I need to do it for my client. And because of that, I am refraining from doing it. As much as on a personal level, I really want that lyrics expert to get up there and explain what lyrics and rap music and how the industry works. So,
okay, so there you have it. Doug's not putting on he's not calling any witnesses. Y'all, just to, and I will finish playing this, but let me just say this because I'm kind of bouncing back and forth. But y'all, in the DC area, we had what we would call neighborhoods. Most of the time, people who grew up in the same neighborhood would associate. This went for DC. This went for where I grew up in Prince George's County. Of course, neighborhoods would mess with each other, meaning that like they would click up, they would roll together, and you would have neighborhoods that didn't like each other. But those neighborhoods, what we called neighborhoods, would fit into what the statute calls a criminal street gang in many cases. So we didn't call it a gang, and we actually resisted the term gang because we were like, and I wasn't with any of this stuff, but I'm just saying, even as a person who would be talking about this in the culture, you wouldn't say, yeah, we got gangs in this area. We would not say that. We would actually say we definitely do not have gangs. We have neighborhoods. Okay. But with that being said, those neighborhoods, many of them meet the definition of what in Atlanta, Georgia, they would call a criminal street gang. Okay. So just because you don't call it a gang doesn't mean it doesn't meet the statutory definition of a gang. That's my point. All right. So let's just finish up.
I'd love to do that, but I'm not going to do it.
That's funny because when we said that yesterday, right?
Yes, we were talking about it, and we thought maybe that reinforces the ridiculousness of relying on lyrics as quote evidence. So maybe it's better not to refocus on that.
Yeah, and I'm kind of torn about it, and I think there is, and you guys can tell me if you agree or not. I think it's powerful to get up there and say, given what's been presented, we don't need to call any witnesses.
Yeah.
It is. It is
critical.
It is. The only thing I say, and I always, I teach this too when I teach it up at the trial advocacy workshop, is that sometimes putting on your case gives a jury, but it's not. It's fact specific, case specific. That little tidbit in the jury room that they can argue with. Look, they called somebody who said this, and therefore it's against that. So it gives them that tidbit. But that's not this case because they've had 2 years of this. They're going to go in there and decide what they already made up their mind. In my opinion.
I think so too, and I don't want to keep them any longer.
And they're done. Right, they're done. Right, they're tired.
I love Doug's minimalist way. I would actually love to, if I were going to be a lawyer, I would love to learn from these guys. I mean, Doug is the captain minimalist, in my opinion, and I think it's very, very effective, at least from a home spectator position. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, your hood. So Big Scares, like, y'all, just to let y'all know what the DC area was like. And to talk a little bit more about this idea of a gang. Gangs are not illegal in Georgia. Criminal street gangs are illegal. So just think about it like this. If you're a neighborhood, you're from an apartment complex. Let's just say Fairwell apartment complex. It's a big apartment complex. You got a lot of kids. You grew up together at some point. There's other apartment complexes that have groups of kids. Y'all get into it, whatever. So y'all just start calling yourself Fairwell, right? Okay, so that's very typical of how to work. You have thousands of people living in Fairwell. The kids get together, they form a group, they Fairwell. They just Fairwell. So like Skez says, we have go-go music in this area. And so particularly when I was in my like teenage years, all of the big groups would go to the go-go, which is live music, and they would pass notes up and take signs and whatnot so that the bands would shout out their group, their neighborhood, their hood, whatever. So I remember Kentland. I remember all of the Northwest, like, what would it be? Simple Sin, just a lot of just hundreds and hundreds. Forest Creek was here in Prince George's County. Kentland was always deep. Kentland is in PG County too. But anyway, these are not necessarily criminal organizations just because they're a group of guys that roll together. But once they start dealing drugs together, or once they start committing crimes together in a systematic way, once they start doing raids or drills on other groups, you're getting into criminal street gang type of territory. Just getting together, hanging, drinking, smoking weed, going to the go-go, chasing girls, playing video games, playing football or basketball. You could do all that stuff, even though weed is illegal, but I don't think that's going to make you a criminal street gang. But once you start moving drugs through the group, once you start going on drills against other groups, once you start participating in some kind of organized, even or somewhat disorganized criminal activity, selling guns to each other, that type of stuff, you're moving your gang into a criminal street gang type of territory. So it's not just being a group of people who is a neighborhood who has a certain look and like a certain type of music. It would be once you start committing crimes throughout the group, then you would becoming a criminal street gang. And so I would say if you're a record label first and the record label starts to commit crimes together as a group, then you're at risk of either being RICO or criminal street gang. You're at big risk of that. Okay. So I think, and I don't know how to pronounce this. Is it Adawu? Yeah. I would say death row is probably more like a RICO. If the type of crimes, the pattern of crimes that people talk about with intimidation, with extortion, with murder, with blackmail, if all that's true, death row is definitely RICO, racketeering. Was it a criminal street gang? I'm not sure. But was it racketeering? Was it RICO? 100%. 100%. Okay. So, I mean, I'm saying again, that's if you believe the reports. I don't know if those reports are true. But yes, I would say if the reports of death row, as headed by Suge Knight, as supported by the Bloods, as hung Vanilla Ice over a balcony to get him to sign over certain rights, as caused certain record executives to do certain things in order to get money, as blah, 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 blah. If all that's true, yeah, of course. What will racketeering be if it's not that? What will racketeering be if it's not that? So, so y'all, we just have to be savvy. Like some of the stuff, this criminal stuff that people used to do, and it wasn't like a bigger thing. It was just individual crimes. What we're seeing from Fonnie Willis, what we're seeing from the federal government with Diddy, and I think this is probably coming, maybe coming toward Lil Durk as well. They're using this racketeering stuff on people nowadays. They should have charged the ones originally that they charged, but no, that Snake Heart had to move more. Yeah, so they messed up. Yeah, I do think they messed up. Death Row was for sure moving in RICO territory, and they were comprised of gang members, not a gang itself, whereas YSL was a record label named after comprised of YSL gang members. Yeah, I think that people have been LTK. I think people have been slow to want to recognize that the YSL boys were out there like committing crimes. I think people want to see them go free, and they don't want to even admit some of the things, but yo, these dudes was out there. I mean, they have admitted to crimes. Now, the idea that they did it in furtherance of YSL is maybe a little bit of a stretch with some of these crimes. You know what I'm saying? The in furtherance of, you just got jumped in the club and you go shoot at people. Are you doing that in furtherance of YSL? Probably not. So some of this stuff I do think is a stretch, but but the fact that they jumped you because you're YSL, you know what I'm saying? Or that the beef that could have just been between two people now is between two groups because you're a member of the group. All of that goes into the criminal street gang territory, in my opinion. So, I think we just have to be honest. Fairmont Heights. Hey, I grew up in Forestville. So you like up north in PG County. Yeah, those were the days, y'all. Those were the days. Anyway, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. It's been great. Just like to hop on and try to keep my routine going. Might come back on tomorrow if we can find something else to talk about, something else interesting. Other than that, y'all, thank everybody. Please hit the like. Y'all can hit a like for me, please. Again, I'm going to drop this link to the other channel one more time. And other than that, y'all, have a good Saturday. We'll see you soon. Thanks a lot. Go subscribe to this channel, please, y'all. Appreciate it.